right now, I'd like you to meet adventurer and explorer and climber Matt Traver, who's just about to go off on a great adventure called One Step Ahead. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me on.
Got your blinking great big backpack with you.
Yeah, I do.
Just bringing the props. So what's going on? I mean, you're just telling me you're going off climbing today, but it gets way more exciting than that.
Yeah, in May 25th, Jamie Madison, who's a photojournalist, and I are heading off to Central Asia to ride for 2,500 kilometers through Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan on horseback. So it should be pretty interesting. It'll take us a few months.
One step, as in STEPPE.
That's right. Yeah.
Historical or your planning?
Yes, it's actually following the original journey taken by Anglo-Irish explorer Sir Charles Howard Bury 100 years on to the day. And his original journey took him through basically 22 countries, over 15,000 kilometers.
Do you think that really adds to the whole thing? It brings out the history head in you as well. Is that what it's all about?
Yeah, one of the biggest things for us is highlighting the Charles Howard Bury, who's really very much kind of overlooked. He was actually the first leader for the expedition to Everest in 1921, and he brought back the story of the Yeti to the West. So we kind of want to tell the story of this kind of much underlooked explorer.
Yeah, well, tell me about the Yeti thing, because it's fascinated us. There's some brilliant TV on it. Some people reckon they've seen him, stroke her. What was his experience?
His experience, I think he just kind of saw some big footprints when he was trekking in the Everest region, and he kind of brought the story back. I mean, I don't actually know too much about his sort of experience with the Yeti, but yeah, as far as I know, it was from his Everest trek. Okay,
we're talking the early 1900s here.
Yes.
Now, sort of in your chats with your pal, have you ever sort of got into, well, what problems would this guy have faced that we won't, and vice versa?
Yeah, we definitely have had a few of those chats. I mean, one of the biggest concerns, and I think it's probably something that Howard Bury would have faced himself, is in eastern Kazakhstan. We've had a little bit of warnings that the area, is a little bit rough, and one of our biggest concerns is actually having our horses stolen, and we have to have about 3 to 4 horses that are worth probably about $2,500 US each. So we're really hoping we don't have the horses kind of stolen from us or robbed in general from us.
What's your plan there? I mean, obviously hiring muscle is expensive.
Yeah.
So are you just fingers crossed on this one?
Basically, we've run into some financial difficulties in organizing One Step Ahead. So originally we were planning to do the whole 15,000 kilometer route, but we're having to basically scale it down to doing the whole ride from Semi in northern Kazakhstan all the way to Tashkent in Uzbekistan.
What uses up the money? What's the main
the horses.
That really is it?
Yeah, it's biggest. It's probably about half of our budget, basically.
So if somebody were to step in last minute, you'd say thank you very much, obviously, but what would you be able to do?
We would be able to recreate the journey in the largest and most original version possible. So going from Ireland, leaving from Charleville Castle and traveling by train through Europe and Russia, and then finally starting our horse ride in Semi, and then finishing in Tashkent, and then taking the ferries across Caspian Sea and trains back.
The other part of that conversation might be something along the lines of, how the heck did they do that? Because you obviously have technologies and stuff that these fellas didn't have. Is there anything particularly that stands out like that? You're like, wow, they must have been super good to do that. Have with you, finding your position. You've got GPSs and stuff and all that, things of that nature.
I mean, we're trying to kind of go as simple as possible. So we're just going to kind of bring a map, even though they're not reliable. They're ex-Soviet maps, and we're going to have a compass. But
it's the fun.
Yeah, that is the fun. I mean, probably the most technical, heavy aspect of our trip will be all the camera and photographic.
Have you actually been in this part of the world before?
We've been to Kyrgyzstan. Jamie and I went to Kyrgyzstan in 2010 on a climbing expedition where we completed the first ascent of 3 peaks in the area.
So everybody's got their own reason. You don't necessarily have to have one. But what's yours for doing this kind of stuff?
Ooh.
You really don't have to have one. I mean,
I guess you could say the biggest reason I like to do these things is because I know I have to. It's like the most important thing in my life. I don't really know what drives me, but I know that I need to just kind of go out to these much overlooked areas.
Beautiful areas.
Yeah, very beautiful areas, and just explore them in my own way, and come back with stories to tell, photographs to share, film to share with other people.
Are you making a doco about this?
Yeah, we are. We're making a film.
That'll be interesting to see. I mean, that's a whole different project in itself. So good luck with that one. You said that when you were a kid you liked climbing at school and everything, but this is a bit more than just a lad who likes extreme sports.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I grew up. I grew up in Hong Kong. Yeah. And I started climbing here when I was about 14 or 15 years old.
What other stuff did you do as
well?
What
other stuff? Surfing.
A lot.
Sea kayaking, everything. Hong Kong's an awesome place for it.
These are skills you really need, though. I mean, we all watch Bear Grylls on TV.
Yeah.
But isn't it funny that everything he does, if he didn't do it, he could end up in a bad way?
Yeah.
Do you eat bugs and stuff?
Yeah, me? I ate a horsefly once in Kyrgyzstan that was deep fried, so...
Deep fried horsefly,
in
that's
base
nice.
camp.
So you're going back there for a bit more of that?
Yeah.
What I mean, obviously, something that could impede your progress is a radical change in diet, and it's play hell with your stomach or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to sort of plan to get around that one? Just don't eat weird stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, one of the biggest issues we're going to face on our trip is we can only carry a limited amount of food and equipment on the horse. We're limited to about 40 kilograms on the pack horse. So we're going to have to slim down our diet. We're probably going to get pretty skinny, I imagine, probably get pretty dehydrated in the 40-degree heat out there, and we're going to just basically have to rely on finding food as we go with the nomads, and also carrying what we can, but it should be pretty taxing. Obviously,
that part of it you have to do for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
But you've got to put yourself going through some towns, surely. Can you do villages or towns where you can get stuff?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we have a list of kind of towns that we can pass through, but we're going to try and do our best to avoid them when and where we can, because we don't want to try and have any confrontations with any of the locals or have the horses stolen. Or
Gotcha. And also, looking after the horses is a whole different deal.
Yeah.
What sort of research have you had to do into that?
Well, we actually returned from a training ride in October and November of this year to Mongolia, where we did a 200-kilometer ride from Olgi in the west of Mongolia, south towards the border of China, and that basically served as preparation and training for one step ahead. So that taught us kind of how to pack the horse, how to look after the horse.
You could ride before, I take it.
No, I'd ridden more elephants than horses, so before I went on this ride.
What did you discover when you went on your training exercise? Pain, I should have better.
Probably the biggest thing was that the riding aspect wasn't anywhere near as difficult as we expected, but it was more kind of understanding how you need to kind of be in tune with your horse, and you have to put your horse first before yourself. So.
Aren't these Mongolian horses a little smaller?
We're going to actually be riding Kazakh horses, and I think they're somewhat larger than the Mongolian ones.
Yeah, because I mean they traditionally aren't as tall as the other ones you're talking about.
That's correct. Yeah.
Give us the Scooby on this. I'm talking to Matt Traver, who's off to do one Steppe, Steppe, ahead in May. So what's your time frame? Time frame
is around we reckon it's probably 130 days or so to cover the 2,500 kilometers, but it could be longer, give or take. Bureaucracy and illness, or various things. So maybe up to 6 months. Basically.
I mean, I want to be positive, but the potential for slip-ups is quite high, isn't it?
Pretty big. Yeah.
I mean, did you go through saying, well, what do we have to make doubly sure of? Lots of pairs of shoes.
I think the biggest aspect for us is making sure the technology side is, it's all backed up and redundant. So we need to have, multiple backups of our film and photography. That's probably the biggest thing. We don't want to kind of lose any of our footage.
Did you say film?
Film, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, yeah, obviously on SD cards. So.
Okay, digital. Right? Yeah. Tell me a bit about what you hope to get him. How you hope to get him to cover this. What are you trying to portray? I mean, is it like you guys being brave adventurers, or is it the beauty of the country, or what?
One of the biggest aspects is basically sharing and showing the changes, the vast changes that have taken place over the last 100 years in the Eurasian continent and within Central Asia. And we're going to basically do that through photography, film, writing, and sound, and sharing our journey through public presentations and a book, and also a children's book once we get back.
Good for you. Actually, you've just it is 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Are we to the month or day, or was it a different time?
It's basically, he left in May 1913, and we're leaving in May 2013 now, so...
Oh, fantastic. Well, how can we find all about your journey online, and are you doing any talks or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm doing a talk at the RGS in Hong Kong, the Royal Geographical Society, on March 4th. You can also check out my website at www.matthewtraver.com.
Traver.
Yep, and also onesteppahead.com.
Okay. Are all your friends and family kind of happy about this, or have you got the auntie who says, "You be careful, young man"?
No, they're pretty cool, but they do worry when I'm away.
Yeah.
So.
I guess they're used to it by now.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. All right then. Well, thanks. I'd really like if when you're away we can do a couple of phone calls and wherever you are
we can arrange
in
that.
the wilds of wherever on the
Yeah, cool.
Thanks, Matt. Best of